So Christine Lagarde has had a storied and distinguished career even without the ECB feather in her cap. She was the first woman to lead the world's largest law firm, Baker McKenzie. She then served as French finance minister during the Euro crisis and was the first woman in that role. She then replaced Dominique Strauss-Kahn to become the first woman managing director at the IMF. So interestingly, like her would-be American counterpart, Jerome Powell, she's not a trained economist. Donald Tusk says he's absolutely sure Christine Lagarde will be an independent president at the ECB. When Richard spoke to her in April, Lagarde insisted central bankers must make policy based on numbers and not on politics.
All central banks, wherever they are located, be able to actually base their monetary policy decisions on data and verified data, not just impressions, and that also they communicate their decisions in clear enough a way so that investors actually understand where it's heading.
All right, so Mohamed El-Erian is the Chief Economic Advisor at Allianz, and he's in Newport Beach, California. Great to have you on the show. And what incredible news coming to the fore. The European Central Bank, an institution that is being run by technocrats, by central bankers. And here we've got someone new, but someone that we know quite well because of the work that she's done in Europe and because the IMF is a technical institution that focuses on things like central banks anyway. But do you think she's the right person to head this institution up?
I do. I think it's an inspiring choice, and it comes at the right time. And it's a big break from the past, but one that has been needed.
Okay, so she's not a central banker. She's not an economist. She doesn't have that technical ability, one would say. She's also a politician in many people's eyes. And she has in the past said, we've got to keep politics out of central banks. Is there a concern that this might spill over into being a politically run central bank because of her background?
No. I mean, look at what she brings to the table.
Yeah.
Very deep national experience. She was a Minister of Finance and international experience, a very successful tenure at the IMF. She knows the private sector well. She knows the public sector well. She surrounds herself with experts and learns from them very quickly. She's known to be a hard worker. She thinks in a multidisciplinary way. She has politician rock star status. She's a great communicator. So put all that together, and I think that the world and the ECB is going to be well served by her leadership at this time. And it is a really important time. I think the hard thing is not the political interference with the ECB. It is the fact that the ECB has been carrying too much of the policy burden.
Yeah, and absolutely. And the ECB has been, expanding its mandate, so to speak. It's had to embark on intense stimulus. It's been buying debt. It's been moving away from the rules it has been, of course, trying to adhere to over the past few decades. Mario Draghi's leadership was interesting. Do you think she's going to be very different to him, or do you think she's going to continue on his path of this, stimulating Europe out of a crisis?
So I think she's going to try and make the handoff that is so desperately needed. If she's not able to do that, she will think out of the box, just like Mario Draghi did. That's her inclination. She is a big thinker. She brings in different elements. But the big hope for Europe is that we get the policy handoff. And today we got another warning.
Yeah.
The German 10-year yield set a new negative record at negative 37 basis points. That is a flashing red light to European politicians that they need a better, more balanced policy approach.
Yeah, I mean, and how many more tools does the ECB really have left in terms of getting, a big economy like Germany back on track, or even just looking at Italy, or even just dealing with EU-US tariffs that could come into play? The Europeans right now have a tough task ahead of them, and Christine Lagarde and the new leadership are going to have to try and navigate this.
Absolutely right. I mean, first of all, she's going in at a hard time, not only because the ECB is running out of tools, like you said, but also because the economy is weakening. I think at best, Europe could hope for 1% GDP growth rate. And at that low level, you risk what's called stall speed. Think of a plane that doesn't go fast enough to overcome all the structural issues. So she comes at a tough time, but I think it's important to get new blood into this, to disrupt the system a little bit and try to undertake this policy handoff that Europe so desperately needs.